Welcome to the 12-Minute Talks podcast presented by Mom Life and Health Insurance Agency. Learn actionable insights from our guests in just 12 minutes. Each episode features business owners, entrepreneurs, and industry experts who share their experiences and strategies.
If you've ever asked Google or an AI tool who to call for a service and noticed the same businesses keep coming up, today's guest explains why. This is Ann from SEO Needed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 12-Minute Talks podcast. I'm excited to have with us today Ann Zelada. As you heard on the intro, she's going to talk all about SEO and AIO and all those interesting terms. And thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's talking about this. Like, oh, I use ChatGPT every day, and like
Oh, yeah.
Google's almost like an afterthought sometimes, right? But I think it's still important, and we'll find out more. But Anne, why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about how you got started in this industry?
Sure. So I actually started a full digital agency back in 2007. And I was very, very young. I couldn't even drink, right? So that's how young I was. And what happened is our first clients were real estate agents. And we were super successful, but then the economy crashed in 2008. So when the economy crashed, we took a big hit. And so to stay afloat, we literally had, side note, we had about 1 month's rent, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? I actually started doing SEO for that agency, and we ended up being number one for web design in Miami. Those were the keywords. And then we did a smart move, which is open up at 9 a.m. instead of 10. So we had 1 hour where we were getting calls, everybody that was searching for web design Miami. And so that's kind of how I got into just SEO when I decided to start my own thing. Um, not too long ago, actually. So, yeah, that's the story.
Awesome. So, I mean, it's good to think outside the box, and that extra hour made a big difference. And I think it's good to use your own products or services that you sell. I find a lot of times people try to sell marketing things to business owners, and I'm like, well, why are they cold calling me and not using whatever they're telling me that they're trying to sell, right? Um, and so, what do you tell us a little bit more about? What it is exactly that you help businesses solve, because I feel there's a big mystery around what SEO is exactly and what it can do for a business.
Well, in layman terms, what we do is just we help businesses get found online. So when somebody searches for specific services, we make sure that our clients are showing up on the results of Google, whether it's maps or on the actual what's called organic search results. And these are actually warm leads, which is not, it's not cold calling like you mentioned earlier, right? These are people that are actually looking for the service. So we found that when people are looking for services, they're more likely to book or call. So that's in a nutshell what we do. We work through SEO, local search, answer engine optimization, which is what you mentioned earlier, AEO, and generative engine optimization. So Google and AI.
Good, good. So a lot of diversification to meet the needs of all this changing technology, right? So, like everything, when something is new, a lot of people might be scared. Maybe even people in your own industry are like, "Oh my goodness, what do we do now?" With like ChatGPT, I feel that's what everybody talks about, even though there's probably Gemini and a whole bunch of other ones out there, right? What do you think, with all these changes, how is this impacting businesses in general?
Well, what we're starting to see is that people are now searching for kind of like trust, right? So one of the algorithmic factors in Google, which has over 240 factors, is we want to make sure that Google sends out the result, and usually those are trustworthy. So now with ChatGPT, what we're finding is that a lot of people are searching to find the best this or the most trustworthy or the one that has the most reviews. So now it's a little bit more about what your credentials are, right? And that's kind of what we're noticing is showing up on those results. And how do you get this? Well, number one is going to be your website. So just make sure you have your credentials there. How many years you've been in business, what organizations you're part of. All of that gets kind of like crawled or stripped, I guess you could say, by AI. Um, and then we're just seeing like a huge evolution in SEO, but a lot of the things that we're already doing for our clients are already working for AI anyways. So one of the biggest factors and one of the cool things about us is that we still have writers. We don't we use ChatGPT for more like inspiration, but we don't necessarily write everything just using ChatGPT because we understand that many times hallucinations can happen. What and hallucinations are basically like information that's not real, and we want to get away from that.
So, in other words, it's not a good idea to say, "Oh, I'm just gonna start doing blogs and just go on AI and tell it write me 10 blogs that are SEO optimized and just posting that on a website."
Well, here's what my suggestion is. Right now, it's the perfect time for small business to use ChatGPT, right, to increase productivity. I'm a huge like proponent of AI if used correctly. So you want to make sure that because you're an expert, you're still reading over these blogs, right? So yeah, you can use it to create these blog posts, but don't just set it and forget it. Read over, make sure that the references, the sources, everything actually matches. I actually teach a CLE course on this because there are lawyers that have used ChatGPT and they cite these cases that don't really even exist. So so you want to, again, it's okay to increase productivity. Just make sure that if you're doing that, and I'm assuming that you're an expert in your field, you'll be able to catch any mistakes or anything like that, to better that article.
You want actual cited sources that exist in that example that you gave, right? And not just, oh, this happened and it's not even real. So yeah, I think it's good, yeah, as a shortcut to help maybe come up with topics or a rough draft maybe.
Yeah.
um and being in Miami, there's probably, you throw a rock and there's somebody out there that says, oh, I do SEO, but obviously you have a tons of years of experience. What else sets you apart in your field?
Yeah. So going back to that, I just finished having a meeting with a prospect who hired someone on Fiverr. So if anyone knows about Fiverr, Fiverr is this website that originally started off where everything was $5, right? And it's, again, it's great to use it when it's like small things, but she wanted to do the whole SEO. To this day, she has no idea what she got. She had this long report that was sent to me, and then it has so many numbers everywhere, and some things are cool, right? So some things I understood, but then when I took a look at it, everything was based on just one keyword, and it was the name of her company. And now if anybody knows about SEO, they will know that that's super easy to target. I mean, it's your own company, and if it's a company that is very uniquely named, then yes, that you're going to be number one. So one of the things that sets us apart is the fact that we focus on actual results. So before even working with us, we do a website audit, we do a keyword research. Um, I don't believe in working with just anybody. I want to make sure that it's the right fit and that we're actually going to give you results. So in that keyword research, you find out how many people are searching for these keywords. And if we see that not many people are searching or it doesn't make sense, like we're not going to get conversions, then we very nicely reject you. So that's the difference, right? I don't want to just, because then it kind of, it's not going to be good later on as we go along and work, and then I can't give you results. And I care very much about, reputation. It's a big deal. So I would say that that's the number one thing.
Okay, good. And then what about for your clients? Is Don't you do something that you only work with like certain industries in certain zip codes or
Thank
something
you.
like that? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So and same thing with this prospect. I explained to them. So I have a few lawyers under my belt, and recently there's a lot of immigration attorneys that have been trying to contact me. So Thank goodness for my current clients, I have been telling them I can't because I have specific ones in Miami, right? So what I do is I work exclusively with industries within that same region. So if there's already one immigration attorney in Miami that I am working with, I cannot work with another one in that same area. It would have to be some other city or maybe some a different service that the other one's not focusing on. And that, yes, I make sure that's how I sleep well at night. That's what I tell them.
I think that that's good. You know, everybody wants exclusivity, and it makes sense, especially online, to do that. So, this has been very valuable information, Anne. And how can somebody? Oh, one more question before we ask how people can get in touch with you. Do you only work with lawyers, or any industry can reach out to you?
So I generally work with most industries that are usually what I call high ticket value services, right? Why? Well, because we do a lot of work, right? And it shows. So I wouldn't want to work with someone that I cannot get them enough conversions, meaning enough clients or enough leads a month. So what I want to focus on and what we work with mostly are, like either home improvement, like, roofing company, construction companies, window installation, things like that. We also work with lawyers, of course, where their hourly fee, I can get them maybe a few clients every month, which already pays for my services. So that's one of the differences also. I can't just take on just any client. I want to make sure that I'm giving you your return. And that's why most of my clients, if not right now, I think all of them actually, we just did an audit, have at least 10% ROI, meaning they get back 10% after our services.
That's always a great thing to have, to be able to prove that your services are actually giving them something back, right? When they're making an investment. And so, how can those that are interested in learning more about your services reach out to you?
So you can always go to my website, right? So SEOneeded.com. You can search for SEO in Coral Gables also. We're number one there. And then, or you can also call or text me directly at 305-340-9171. And for those that are a little more shy, you can book me online also, SEOneeded.com/book.
Awesome. And like always, we will have all of the links, and in this case, a phone number, so that those listening or watching can easily follow our guest today. And I just wanted to quickly introduce myself for those of you that don't know who I am. I'm Lorena Tomasini, and I help families and businesses not become GoFundMe pages. And this has been very valuable information for our audience today. Before I let you go, I do have a random question for you. What would you say is a good productivity tip?
So I would say knowing your real capacity and your attention span. And I say this because a lot of people overestimate how long they can focus on. Being a small business owner and being an entrepreneur for so many years, I've had to realize that it's not about working so many hours, but it's about working a good amount of hours where you're fully focused. So, I would say that. And then if I can add one more, I would say knowing your weaknesses. So your weaknesses is what you're going to delegate to, right? So I am terrible at firing people. I'm not good at, like, I feel I make up all these stories about how I'm going to affect them so bad. So instead, in the past, what I've done is I've worked with like a third party HR company, and they'll fire them for me. But
Good. Leave the heavy work to somebody else. And we always promote a lot about delegating here what you don't know to an expert. So don't spend hours trying to figure out Google and how you can come up on ChatGPT. Look for someone like Anne that can help you with that. Anne, thank you so much for being on today. Is there anything else you would like to add?
no, not as of now. Just to enjoy your path onto your goals.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the 12-Minute Talks podcast, presented by Malm Life and Health Insurance Agency. If you enjoyed today's conversation, remember to share and subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Remember to make it a great day.